Hey yo, what's going on, all my gamers, all my Genshin gamers? So it's been a while since Mujin has done anything Gacha related, so I'm always excited to watch his videos. I think his videos are really good. I always keep up with them, but you know, we gotta wait for him to do a Gacha thing to react to it. I think he's just gonna be, I mean, Mujin is pretty neutral, so we're gonna get the story straight. And I've always kind of wondered about this to look into the actual charges and stuff like that to see if these people actually know what gacha games are. I don't know if Mujin's gonna go over it, but I want to watch this video because Mujin is great and I want to know about this.
On January
I know about it, but still.
2025, the Federal Trade Commission posted a press release on its website saying that due to their referral, the Department of Justice of the United States had gone after Genshin Impact's developer. The lawsuit title is crazy in itself. The United States versus Cognosphere, the parent company of Genshin Impact.
Damn.
I never thought I'd see that sentence in my life.
Not like this, dude. Not my billionaire Chinese company.
Children, teens, and other players into spending hundreds of dollars on prizes they stood.
I need to know this, okay? It keeps saying children. When does a 7-year-old know about Genshin Impact? I mean, like 13 to 16-year-old, sure, but like, how does someone younger than that know about Genshin Impact? I've been trying to wrap my brain around that, but like, how does that happen? And don't tell me this is marketed for kids or anything like that, because it's not marketed over here. You can't find it on a billboard, you know? I don't understand it. I mean, it might be because it's on the front page of like those app stores and stuff like that. That sounds like a boomer way to say that, but on the app stores, sure, it'll be like on the front page, but even still, it's like, how do kids find this game? I'm not convinced that they do.
Little chance of winning, as well as having a blatant disrespect towards children's privacy rights, and that's barely scraping the surface, guys.
Wow.
Look, this came out of nowhere. It caught everyone by surprise, but it turned
but at the same time, they were kind of doing this to a lot of Chinese companies, which is wild. Just make better products and we won't use the Chinese version. Smile.
The FTC has been working on this investigation for years now, as early as 2022. What was even more shocking to many is that instead of countersuing, Genshin Impact's developer didn't. They ended up settling, paying over $20 million and having to change multiple aspects of their monetization in-game. Additionally, every single news outlet at this point has talked about this, okay? This game is such a phenomenon that, yes, whenever something like this happens, it does impact the game industry as a whole. The lawsuit itself that was filed by the FTC contains a lot of interesting little surprises, like how some characters are mentioned by name or how SS Sniper Wolf makes a fucking...
I saw that! Chat, if you go look at the charge or the court case, they use Sniper Wolf as a... What? I don't know why they use Sniper Wolf as a reference. Dude, you might as well why didn't you just use Tectone or one of us? We play the game. Why would you use her? What?
Appearance. The community reaction, though, resulted in an implosion of people completely fighting each other on different opinions.
Wow.
The impact that this lawsuit has had has already been huge, but it stands to be even bigger in the future.
No, don't mention when we talk about
it.
Discipline.
If you weren't born yesterday and have played video games for like the last 10 years at least, you know the term microtransactions and loot boxes. You couldn't have avoided them, even if you wanted to. The term loot box has gotten so big that you can find it on the website of the UK Parliament or on an Australian government website. There's a lot of controversy surrounding these game mechanics because for many, they are very similar to what you'd find in a casino, except this is marketed to all ages. Concern kept growing as parents started to notice that the games their children were playing had a lot of gambling mechanics incorporated into them. This all somewhat culminated into the very infamous moment in which the UK brought forth some gaming executives and questioned them about their loot box mechanics, with this EA executive saying that they're not loot boxes, they're just surprise mechanics.
Oh no.
Well, first, we don't call them loot boxes. I think that was...
Whatever term you wish to apply to them, do you
so,
consider them ethical?
so what we look at as surprise mechanics.
What's funny to me is that
man,
online...
that I don't know how much that would have worked. I don't think they got away with that, Chad. I'm not gonna lie.
Casinos, right? They don't call themselves casinos. They call themselves gaming providers, right? Like, oh my God, hey, you make slot machines, right? No, I make games.
Casino game providers. Wow.
This sounds like the same exact mental gymnastics. This was back in 2019, and people thought
Oh,
that
yeah, 'cause
finally
EA
this
was, like,
gambling
really
plague
bad.
would leave their games alone, but unfortunately, nothing really happened. One of the most infamous companies in all this, of course, is EA
EA.
Games. They make
EA
so much
Sports.
money from microtransactions. They call that extra content. In 2024, they made $4.4 billion from microtransactions.
Dude, they make so much because they have like every game that does these loot boxes, right? They have, I think FIFA does it, and I think NCAA. I don't know if NCAA does it. And I think NFL, 2K, whatever, a football game, NFL, 2K, whatever the hell. I think that does a lot of them. I think every one of their games kind of have this
Microtransactions, and half of it came from FIFA's Ultimate Team
Yeah.
mode. Or sorry, EAFC 24, because they lost the FIFA trademark. The premise is simple. You build your own team to play against players. But the way you get the best players is by opening packs and relying fully on
That's
luck
so
to get the ones that
awful.
you want. In 2020,
Not like I
the
have a
Dutch
room to
court
talk,
ruled
but still.
that EA Games has 1 week to make changes to how this mechanic works. Otherwise, they would fine them 500,000 euros a week, up to 10 million euros until they do. Many
Damn.
people saw this as a victory, but EA said, no, we're not going to do that. In fact, we're going to appeal. And 2 years later, that fine got canceled. Nothing's really changed
Wow.
in that regard. Look, one thing was for certain by that point, loot boxes were becoming more and more taboo. As companies became increasingly fearful of costly regulation, they started looking at other monetization mechanics and found inspiration in Fortnite's item shop.
Shout out to
You get a
Fortnite.
bunch of rare items, you could buy them for points, and if you didn't buy them, then they disappeared.
Chat, did you get the Miku bundle? I did.
You would never know if you could get them again. Fortnite found huge profitability with this business model, as well as their battle pass, and other companies found success with this business model too.
I need that
Not all
Psylocke
of them,
skin.
though, okay?
All right,
Not
yeah,
all
definitely
of
not
them.
that one.
However, on the other side of the planet, you still had many game companies using a monetization system similar to loot boxes, and it was
Genshin
getting
Impact.
very profitable. They were called Gacha games.
Yeah.
There are so many Gacha games out there, most of them
Arknights,
on mobile,
Attack
and
on
many of
Titan,
them not
Azur
even being
Lane,
able to survive for more
Blaze
than a
Blue,
few years
Brave
before being,
Fighter.
well, deleted. You'll always find new releases, and you'll
Cookie
always
Run
hear news
Kingdom,
of old games shutting
Danganronpa.
down. But where the hell did they come from? Well, it's from where all the other good things come from too.
China.
Japan. It
Wait,
originated
Japan?
from the term gachapon, which are these
Oh,
machines
right,
here.
yeah.
Let's take the example of this car
I thought
gachapon
only,
machine
I
where you
forgot
put
only Hoyo versus from
300
China.
yen, and you're hoping to get your favorite car out of these 5 different cars. The idea here is that you're gambling, but you're gambling on preference, not on money. After putting your money in this machine, you're receiving a car, whether you like it or not. It's just that you might
Whether
not be
you
getting
like
the
it or
one that you
not.
want.
Oh,
And
no,
that's
dude.
exactly how gacha games work as well. Wikipedia takes this even further and says that games such as Magic the Gathering are actually a type of gacha. This would make
Really?
Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!
I mean, at that point, you can kind of make the argument that anything is a gacha, right? You just put your money in, and then it's just like, oh, I hope I get what I want. You know, hell, team games are kind of a gacha. You try to, get into the game and just hope that you get a good teammate.
those games gacha as well, even though no
that
one really
Persinatrix?
refers to them that way.
It is.
Now when you hear gacha, you're thinking of a game, free to play, most likely on mobile, that's either from China, Korea, or Japan. And this is where
Exactly.
Genshin Impact came in on
Genshin
September
Impact.
28th, 2020. Gacha before Genshin
The
was
day it all
very
changed.
niche. It was also mostly on mobile. Genshin changed that by not only making it available on PC, but on PS4 as well. More importantly, it was appealing to the mainstream audience and not to a niche audience. So if you liked open world games, it was enough for you to try Genshin. But the thing is, I don't think people quite understand just how much money Genshin makes. Half of its revenue comes from its home country, China. But it's estimated that by 2025,
It's still huge in China. Dude, you have no idea.
it'll be on track to hit $10 billion in total since release. Some of you watching might be thinking, oh, wait a second, that's not really a lot of money. Well, I don't really blame you. The government throws $1 billion, $2 billion, $3 billion like it's $5 in your pocket from time to time, right? So here's a fun little comparison. Ever since Grand Theft Auto 5 released, if you include all their copies sold and all the revenue generated from GTA Online, they've made $8.5
Wow.
billion.
Really?
Do you understand?
Dude, I thought they would have made a lot more because those shark cards are kind of necessary for the new games that come out, because GTA, I don't know if anyone else has played GTA Online. I used to play it all the time. But when GTA Online came out, it still has the same price that you can earn per mission. Like, they never updated it, they never increased it, but they just increased the price of everything else.
Now, like, are we on the same page? Genshin Impact in 5 years has made more than Grand Theft Auto 5 in over a decade.
Wow.
That's how profitable Gacha can
That's
be for the
crazy.
top companies. For the first 6 months of 2024, Genshin Impact stayed their top earner, with Honkai Star Rail, another game of theirs, being very close second. So it shows that even though Gacha games have
Starbucks.
low life expectancy, Genshin was still holding on quite well. The Federal Trade Commission, of course, will keep track of these things. They're constantly looking at the top earners in app stores, whether it be Apple's or Google's. And their goal as an organization is to stand up
Release
for
the numbers.
American consumer,
Make more Gacha
when
war.
they're not being bribed, of course. The first thing you see on their website is COPPA, the Children's
Kappa.
Online Privacy Protection Act, and they were going to use this as a basis to actually file a complaint against Genshin Impact's developer. Which brings us here.
Oh,
United
yes.
States-
Dude, I wanted to go through this, but like I just don't have the attention span to read all of this. I'm so ready for this.
of
Please,
America
Mujin, go through all of it all.
versus Cognosphere. Now, you might
Yeah.
be wondering why Cognosphere? Why not Hoyoverse?
That's a
the game's
publisher, right?
company. No? Well, it's complicated. Domestically in China, they're still known as
Mihoyo.
Mihoyo. Globally, for partnerships,
Hoyoverse.
they're Hoyoverse. But the parent company that oversees
Cognosphere.
finances and transactions is Cognosphere, based in Singapore, just like Hoyoverse. But for sake of clarity, I'll just say Hoyoverse from now on. This case is split into two major parts. The first part focusing on the Children's Privacy Protection Act, and the second part focusing on the monetization mechanics used by Genshin Impact. But the thing they start off with, and I find this really funny, they try to explain why Genshin is directed to children under 13, right? They make it a
You guys, how? Bro, I don't even, whatever. Go ahead.
Look at this. They argue that Paimon, right, your companion throughout the whole
Paimon?
game and the mascot of the game in the App Store is directed towards children.
Who was on this board? Tectone? Shout out to Tectone. I still love Tectone. Like, hello? This is something, not to, this is not a shot at Tectone, but Tectone does say that this is what makes it makes her like Boots the monkey. And I will not, I ain't gonna deny it. He's right in that point. I'm not gonna deny it. He is right, but I'm just saying, bro.
Some people will definitely agree with this, some others won't. But I can tell you right now, a lot of adults find Paimon annoying, so maybe they're
God, I
onto
hate-
something here. I don't
I
know.
hate Paimon.
I'm not so sure here.
I do hate
but I
Paimon.
just find it so funny. But this for me is where it gets hilarious, okay? They show you an ad where it says Cute Force, where you see 3 characters you can play
That's
in
not
the
even
game.
from
Diona,
Genshin, though.
Chi-Chi,
That's
and
not
Klee.
from
This to
Hoyoverse.
them is similar to children's art, and that these promotional materials
Huh?
are appealing to children because they emphasize the childlike qualities of these heroes.
That ad, I was looking for that ad everywhere in anything related to Hoyoverse. I couldn't even find it. This ad is just like made somewhere. I don't even know who made that ad. It wasn't
Look, bro, I don't
Hoyoverse
know who's
though.
got to tell him, but in the Gacha sphere, this ad would appeal more to
Oh,
certain
no.
adults than children. Okay.
Oh no.
But that's all I'll say on the matter.
Oh,
Okay,
no.
let's keep going.
Not
They
like this,
allege
dude.
that Hoyoverse intentionally hired influencers that have an audience of children to advertise the game to. For example, many of these paid influencers won or were finalists for categories related to gaming and online media at the Nickelodeon's
What?
Kids' Choice Awards. Some of them were big content creators for Minecraft or Roblox.
Who?
And they also allege that some internal planning documents used by Hoyoverse made note of whether hired influencers were known
We're
for
only like
producing Minecraft
few
or
pages in and I'm
Roblox-related
already
content.
over it, dude. This
To
is so stupid.
strengthen this argument, they mention a hide and seek minigame
Prop
that happens once
hunt?
a year in Genshin
Really?
Impact by the name of Windtrace, and how they hired an influencer by the name of It's Funny to play it on their YouTube channel. You know what? I mean, this does look like Cocomelon, but in Roblox. Like, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie to you, it's the same kind of thumbnail. It does look like
They have
a kid's
11
channel.
million
But it's
followers.
important
Shout
to
to
note
them.
here that there was nothing mentioning any of the gacha mechanics, right? It was just a bunch of friends playing together like you would watch scene nanners playing prop hunt, right?
Yeah,
Are
it's
you guys
just
old
prop
enough
hunt.
to understand this reference? God, I hope so. But these things were enough for the FTC to determine that Genshin Impact
I don't think these people know what Genshin is. I'm not gonna lie.
is directed to children within the meaning of the COPPA rule. Their biggest issue relating to COPPA was Hoyoverse collecting personal information from children
Oh,
without obtaining
okay.
parental consent. They outline how here. It's through their social network. So if you didn't know, Hoyoverse has a social
Oh, yeah,
network called
HoYoLab.
HoYoLab where you can share things from all their different games.
There's no way a kid's gonna know how to get to HoYoLab. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you think kids have the attention span to find HoYoLab? If anything goes not even sideways, but like, if anything distracts me for long enough, I won't even do my daily logins on HoYoLab. So I missed out on
games,
stuff.
find resources, and also do a daily check-in
And it's
that
literally
gives you
just
rewards.
tapping
The
like 4
FTC
buttons.
argues that in many instances, Hoyoverse has become aware that Hoyolab users are children. Some users have stated or indicated in communications reviewed by Hoyoverse that they were under 13 years old. For example, in social media
Okay.
postings on Hoyolab or in posted photographs, videos, or audio files containing the child's image or voice from which it was apparent that the user was a child. Hoyoverse has in some instances taken limited and insufficient corrective steps when it has discovered a post by a child, such as removing the post in question and muting the user from posting on the Hoyolab social network, but without deleting or seeking verifiable parental consent for the use or disclosure of other personal information of the child already collected. So this is how they argue that despite them knowing that they had children on their website, they took no steps and therefore collected their personal information with no issues on their end. And you know what? The FTC is not wrong at all here. It took me less than 5 minutes to find a minor posting their cosplay on Hoyolab. I'm not going to show the post
okay.
itself or the person's username.
But the problem, here's the thing, right? It's not so much that whether it's a minor, it's whether it's a child. And I mean, you know, you can actually, no, that sounds kind of weird. No, it's more of whether they're under 13. Then it's like, yeah, get them out of here. Actually, honestly, in my opinion, I think anyone under 18 should be out of there, but still.
But all you got to know is it says from a minor, okay? It's in the title and it has over 400 likes, which is viral for Hoyolab. Now, don't get this twisted. It doesn't mean that minors shouldn't be having fun cosplaying their favorite characters, but the entire point of COPPA is for them to have protection while doing it. And if Hoyoverse doesn't acknowledge that they're on their platform, then what's stopping someone from following them, interacting with them, and maybe even messaging them harmful things?
I guess so.
Nothing.
Yeah, I see
There are no
that.
protections in place. The FTC then reveals that the investigation into Genshin Impact has been going on for a while. And when Hoyoverse actually became aware of it in December 2022, they sneakily changed a little section in their privacy policy, saying our services are not marketed to or intended for children. But for the FTC, that means nothing because in their opinion, Hoyoverse has not sought to collect parental consent at any point in time. And then this is where things get interesting. We're talking about monetization, but not just in regards to children, but also in regards to something the FTC calls dark patterns. In this case, the FTC says that Hoyoverse used confusing systems of virtual currency exchanged for loot boxes and deceived people about the low odds of desirable prizes to trick players into spending much more than they meant.
What? How does... Okay. I don't know how many people who play gacha games don't know how the pity system in their game works. Like, if you're playing Genshin Impact and you're getting to the point where you're going to spend money, you kind of know how pity works and how the gacha works and how the... You know, I also don't like the way that they do the thing with, you know, the currency, and then it's like, oh, you gotta buy this made up currency, but like every game does that at this point for microtransactions and stuff like that. I have never been a fan of it. I rather you just, you know, ask for a flat amount because then I know how much it's worth. But you still can kind of calculate how much things are worth by just looking at the lowest number and seeing how much you are buying comparative to the lowest number, which is like 60 with no bonus.
Making it
it's only
dark
$1.
Pattern. So in Genshin Impact, in order to pull for a limited 5-star character, you need a currency called Intertwined Fates. One fate means one pull. To get fates, you need to buy them with primogems.
Wow.
One fate equals 160 primogems. You can earn primogems in-game, but if you want to spend money, you buy Genesis crystals.
Yeah.
You can then use the Genesis crystals to convert them to primogems to then use the primogems to buy the fates. But when you buy the Genesis crystals, you're not told how much they equal in terms of pulls. You have to do math. You have to unfortunately use your brain, take out the calculator, and calculate how much does this mean? If I spend $100, how many pulls do I realistically get? You don't have a straightforward answer in-game, and this is why the FTC is alleging that this is a dark pattern strategy.
Is it?
Additionally, they say that on banners, you see the words probability increased. You also see things like huge drop rate boost on marketing material, which is another dark pattern because it's deceiving. There's no drop rate boost. It's the same thing on every banner, except this one's limited for 20 days. This leads us to the next part, in which the
that's why it's a
FTC
limited
says
banner.
that Hoyoverse had hired influencers specifically to show off these gambling mechanics to make them fun for children. This is when I would encounter a name I never thought I'd see in 2025, which is SS
Sniper Wolf.
The FTC says that in May 2021, Hoyoverse hired her and paid her more than $100,000 to record 2 videos promoting
Genshin was hiring anybody,
building
huh?
upon their narrative
Really
that this
scraping
is a
the Genshin was hiring anyone, huh? Really scraping the bottom of the barrel there.
I'm winner of the Nickelodeon's Kids' Choice Awards in the favored gamer category, so her audience has a lot of kids watching. Now, here's where it gets really tricky. She was pulling for characters, right? Typically, if you do a 10 pull, you'll always see a purple light
got
if you don't win a
Zhongli.
5-star because you're guaranteed to get a 4-star every 10 pulls. If you were to pull for a 5-star, you see a golden light. This is how you know
Wow.
that, oh my god, I just got a 5-star. In Sniper
Nice.
Wolf's video, it's purple, okay? This means that it's a 4-star. There is no, it's impossible that a 5-star is in there. And yet, guys, I'm telling you, you will not believe what happens when she gets to the final pull. Okay, first off, remember, we
Noelle.
pulled 10 wishes. Okay, you cannot pull more than 10. You cannot pull less except for one at a time, right? And yet, all of a sudden, you see 11.
What?
and then
Hello?
12. And oh, look, this is
What? Bro, she did more. Shoot, dude, she's not. Oh my god, dude. Oh, I hate Sniper Wolf. She doesn't even know what she's doing, bro. She's not even in our community and she messed up. What the hell? Oh, she got. It's because she's Sniper Wolf. She got the legendary 12 pull and pulled the Zhongli. What the hell?
a 5-star and a
What?
purple pull. Wow. Wow, who would have ever thought, dude? Wow, your RNG is really good, dude. It's so good that it
Wow,
defied
I
game
can't believe
mechanics
it.
and is as
Oh
crazy
my
as
God,
someone
I
getting a
can't
rare in a
believe it.
CSGO case and it turning out to be a skin worth 2 cents. You know, this is how crazy this is, just so you understand. The FTC alleges here that Hoyoverse are complicit because they got to review this video before it was published since they were paying her to do it, and they still approved this. You cannot wish for more than 10 times at the same time, and yet here
Yeah.
you saw 12. Okay, that was
I do think this is kind of bad if they did review it. I mean, the only reason I can see for this is that they were like having a lot of people giving ads at this time. You know, I think everybody was sponsored by Genshin at one point, so it's like they were probably like sifting through everything. But still, that is pretty irresponsible to let that go. How she got 2 extra pulls, you know? I mean, it's just video editing, but still. I wonder what her pity is when she got Zhongli.
already misleading, and you see a 5-star character appear when the highest one was supposed to be 4 stars. Another
Yeah.
dark pattern. Look, part of the reason why many Genshin fans were shocked to find this lawsuit
this Mujin's
was because when it comes to
account?
their
Does he have
gacha
that many
mechanics, Genshin are very honest with their odds. You have
Yeah.
this massive array of paragraphs that tell you exactly what to expect when you pull and the probability. I saw many people arguing this, saying, dude, who doesn't read this? Like, you have to be an idiot to not read the odds. And
Right.
yet, the FTC is alleging that these odds are misleading. Look,
How?
when you get a 5-star character, you have a coin flip that plays in the background. If you win the coin flip, you get the character that you want, the limited character. If you lose it, you get a character that no one wants, someone from the standard pool. When Genshin Impact says that the base
That's funny. If you don't want it, you get absolute dog shit. Sorry, that's
probability
really
of winning
funny.
a 5-star character is 0.6%.
That's funny,
They're being
bro.
misleading. So what the FTC says is that
Also, I don't know if they even know about this, but they give pity, so you get an actual guaranteed 5-star if you lose the first time.
it should be 0.3%, a 3 in 1,000 chance to get the character that's actually on the limited banner, which is what people are actually pulling for, right? Realistically, no one's pulling for their 6th Diluc or Chi-Chi,
That's
right?
so real.
All these things added up
You're
make
so
up this
right,
case.
Mujin.
The FTC believes that through Genshin Impact, Hoyoverse has failed to protect children's data, has failed to get parental consent, has used dark patterns in its monetization mechanics, and that they have made a conscious effort targeting children in their marketing
Wow, is that
campaigns.
so?
Very shortly after, the community on Twitter caught wind of this, and well, a lot of
Oh, crap. No, don't show us. This wasn't a good time for us. Okay,
them
go
had
ahead.
different things to say.
Oh, no.
PC Gamer published this article saying the FTC says Genshin Impact deceived children, teens, and other players into spending hundreds of dollars on prizes they stood little chance of winning. This then led into the biggest tweet of this entire shitstorm, which
Oh,
was
is
made by
it Doro?
Doro44, a
Oh,
well-renowned
no.
Genshin content creator.
Oh,
Here's what he
no.
said. Not to defend the multi-billion-dollar company, but aren't the gacha mechanics explained in game? If you're allowing your kids to spend your money in a gacha game, then that's just bad parenting. I'm not sorry.
I still stand by that. Now, it is bad that these companies are targeting, you know, in the way that they do and marketing in the way that they do, but still, bro, come on.
But I will say, implementing more protective measures so that kids don't go spending money they shouldn't isn't a bad thing.
That's that
So
too.
obviously, as you
That's kind of my stance on it. If your kids are spending your money to do that, it's kind of your fault. But more regulations, I'm not gonna be mad at it.
can tell from the amount of comments,
It's kind of
Doro
whatever.
received quite a bit of controversy. You know, people were very divided on this, and while many also tended to agree with him,
There's
there was a lot
Braxophone.
of chaos.
That's
what
it.
I will say
That's the only
though is
person I
that PC
recognize.
Gamer knew exactly what they were doing here. Okay, this title doesn't really sum up the entire case very well. There would have been way less chaos if they just said FTC sues Genshin Impact over Child Safety Protection Act. Like that's completely different than what they're saying here.
Obviously, I mean, who cares about PC Gamer? Fuck 'em.
The damage was done, though. This tweet was the ground zero for
Oh,
what
no.
erupted on Twitter.
Oh,
This
no.
meme right here was being passed around a lot, right? Like if someone felt
He's
they
a
were siding with
missplitter.
Hoyoverse over the FTC, leave
Why
alone
is
the
he a
multi-million-dollar
missplitter?
company. Another content creator siding with Doro
Mr.
was Mr. Pokey, saying,
Pokey, oh
"To
my
people that are
goodness,
shitting on
Aboba.
Doro, it's not a matter of whether the parents are aware that these are gacha games, but how the hell are your kids getting access to your credit cards? If my mom found out I swiped her credit card when I'm 12, I'd be beaten beyond recognition."
Oh, no. No. Oh, here we go. Chat, here's... Oh, no.
Implying that in this case, the consumer needs to face responsibility,
God.
not just the company, with Doro thanking him for sharing his same opinion. On the other hand, you had Braxophone, a well-known guide maker in the Genshin community, saying this to Doro's tweet: "It's parents' job to parent kids, but there's no justifiable reason for gacha to exist in the first place other than to disguise gambling as a fun game. We should not normalize gambling up to $300 every 3 weeks for game content, and especially not to children. Gacha is predatory." He then goes on to say that the only reason he plays gacha games is because they're the only live service games that are anime-based that are constantly updated. Bear in mind, this is someone who makes their entire living around gacha, and yet even he couldn't defend this monetization mechanic. Another opinion was not just from a content creator, but someone who has a child.
Gacha Smack.
Gacha Smack is a content creator that makes content on
Papa
Hoyoverse
Smack,
games
baby.
in general, and here's what he had to say. Here's my take. The average 35 plus parent in the world has no earthly clue what a gacha game even is. The games also hide their gacha in their descriptions. They don't even disclose a single loot box in any of their advertising, nor do they mention the price points. The typical mom or dad is going to examine that it's a 12 plus year old rating game, examine the description as well as the cartoon visuals and go, "This seems fine." This is deceptive and intentional by the companies because they know parents have no earthly clue about mobile gaming, because most parents don't play games period or understand the industry the way we do. The kid gets addicted and runs into the price points, and how that unfolds is absolutely due to a lack of supervision. Regardless, these companies need to disclose in their marketing and promotions that they are in fact gacha games that contain gambling elements, which falls on a lack of regulation from the government. Parents would see it in the description and say, "No shot my kid is playing this, long overdue regulation needed." Now, someone did comment that the price points are actually there for the game. On the App Store, you can see how much all the bundles cost. But if we're going to be objective here, every single mobile game at this point has the same exact price points for packs, with the highest one always being $100. So it's not really enough for a parent to understand.
I wonder why they cut it
that
off at
there's
$100.
gambling here. This had become a very heated topic for a while in between content creators and gacha game players. In the end, though, Hoyoverse themselves came out with a statement regarding the FTC's lawsuit. They said Cognosphere, the distributor
I didn't go over this, but yeah, they did
a
this.
settlement agreement with the United States Federal Trade Commission to strengthen and increase transparency around our parental consent and virtual currency practices. A statement from Cognosphere is below. Animation-style games and shows are well received by global audiences and players across various ages.
We're all a bunch of
Genshin Impact
weebs.
is a popular free-to-play anime-style game designed for older teens and adults. While we believe many of the FTC's allegations are inaccurate, we agreed to the settlement because we value the trust of our community and share a commitment to transparency for our players. Under the agreement, we will introduce a new age gate and parental consent protections for children and young teens and increase our in-game disclosures around virtual currency and rewards for players.
Dude, chat, imagine how much... Chat, I need you to understand this and how much money Genshin Impact has really made for Hoyoverse. They saw $20 million fine and they were like, they just waved it off. And their response was, "Yeah, we're going to pay this. I don't really think we did it, but whatever. We're going to pay it. Who cares?" Imagine having I don't give a shit money to $20 million of a fine. They paid it off like a $10 ticket. What?
In the US in the coming
That's
months.
wild.
So in other words, the FTC's lawsuit's bullshit, but hey, listen, we can't be bothered to countersue. Take your $20 million. We'll make that back in a day. And yeah, I guess we'll change some things
I think
around in the game.
Malvika probably made that much. And just Malvika alone. I think Sitlali probably made another 20.
Okay, this is as straightforward as it gets, guys. $20 million for them is child's play. But this hasn't stopped people from comparing Hoyoverse's game mechanics to other games that are operating with no issues.
Right.
For example, look at the odds that EA games give you for FIFA packs. When you open a premium gold pack, they say that it's a 4.2% chance to get a player gold 84 plus or higher in terms of stats. But what
Does
if I
FIFA
wanted a
even
player that's
have,
like 94
hard
or
pity?
96? What are the odds there? We don't know. Let's not forget that even Apex Legends, I know it's a dead game, still has loot boxes as well. And let's not pretend here that
they don't have
use
pity.
these,
I've been
let's
playing.
not pretend that EA Games actually seeks parental consent.
Yeah.
This is why many people have shared the opinion that the US government is actually using COPPA, weaponizing it in order to go after companies they don't like, most notably Chinese companies like TikTok and Hoyoverse. But how will this affect Genshin Impact and other Hoyoverse games? Well, as a start, you're probably going to have an option to immediately buy Fates instead of Genesis Crystals, to then convert them to Primogems, and then buy Fates with them. There's probably going to be an option that's like, yo, buy 20 pulls for this much, buy 30 pulls for this much, among other
I don't hate that at all. I actually
in some
really
ways,
like that.
yes, this only serves to benefit the consumer. The consumer is not losing anything here. But the question is this: now that we know that the FTC has been working on this complaint for years, who else are they targeting? There are other gacha games out there that compete with Genshin Impact directly, like Wuthering Waves. It's also a Chinese game, but a $20 million fine will severely impact their cash flow. It won't just be a walk in the park like Hoyo.
Yeah, I think if WoWa gets something like a $20 million fine, or hell, even maybe like a $10 million fine, that's definitely going to hurt like a lot. I think they haven't really made 10 plus million since 1.0. I could be wrong on that, and maybe Jinshi probably made that much as well. We don't really know the numbers for 2.0, so if I were to give it to any patch that made a lot of money, I would give it to 2.0, but still, to get fined that much is kind of, it would really hurt Kuro Games.
So will this stop here, or will it get worse? That's the question on everyone's minds. Look, one thing is for certain in the end, Gacha loves American money. But let's see how far they'll comply with this. And let's see if the FTC will seek to go after other, more predatory video game companies in the future. For now, though, that's pretty much it. If you watched till the end, I love you. Thank you so much. And I'll see you in the next video, whenever that is. Mwah.
Hoyoverse. Wait, that's it? $20 million? I always love Mujin's endings. Dude, so here's the thing, right? The thing about it is these game companies can kind of just pull out of the West and not have to really care. Like, if you look at, I know for the longest time we were talking about how Love and Deep Dick was like the new gacha game, Love and Deep Space, making $50 million. But if you looked at that chart again from the revenue charts when we used to have Century Tower, that 55 million was being hard carried by China. I think in the West it maybe made like $1 million. Like, so games like these, even though the West is kind of important, they don't really have to care about us. So if the government keeps messing with them and they just like leave, it's like they're gonna be fine. I mean, I think WoWa would probably hurt because, you know, WoWa's more of a PC game and they don't really PC game over there in China. They're more mobile gamers. But I think Japan might be able to hard carry that if the West is gone. And that's just my, guess. But yeah, I love this video. I love Mujin's videos. They're always so good. And he always makes really good videos. So I'm glad he went over the the document, because I didn't want to go through it myself. I'm kind of lazy. But chat, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you gamers in the next one. Bye.